Hey, 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 and welcome back to my channel. So today, welcome back to my channel for another book review. When you forget your own intro. It's been one of those days. So today we're going to be talking about this book. It's called If Only I Had Told Her. I am going to preface this video by saying that I hurt my hand right before filming this, so I have a bag of ice right here, so I'm going to be putting my hand down. If you hear it, that's all it is. I'm just putting my hand on some ice because it hurts. But this is the second book in this series, and it wasn't intended to be a series. She originally wrote the first one, If He Had Been With Me. And then apparently people were just clamoring for more about Finn, the male main character in the first book. And so she basically brought him back to life in this second book. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. I'm not going to get too extensive in this. As you all know, I like to be a little bit more vague in my video reviews. If you would like to see a more extensive review, please go check out my blog at my website, which is beautifullyfearless.com. There's a link to my blog on there. And I go into like more detail about things, like more spoilers, things like that. But let's go ahead and read the back, and then we will talk about the book a little bit. If only I'd told her that I loved her years ago, then I wouldn't be here now. Finn has always loved Autumn. She's not just the girl next door or his mother's best friend's daughter. She is his everything. But she's not his girlfriend. That's Sylvie, and Finn would never hurt her, so there's no way Autumn would know how he truly feels. Jack, Finn's best friend, isn't so sure. He's seen Finn and Autumn together. How could she not know? And how is he supposed to support and protect Finn when heartache seems inevitable? Autumn surrounds herself with books and wants to write her own destiny. But one doesn't always get a new chapter, and fate can be cruel to those in love. This is told through 3 different perspectives. If Only I Had Told Her is a love story brimming with truth, tragedy, and the unexpected bonds that heal us. So the first thing I will say is that this book is just as heartbreaking as this book is just as heartbreaking as the first book was. So you get Finn's perspective, and then you get Jack's perspective, and the last perspective is Autumn, the one I think that we were all waiting for. Even though the first book was written in Autumn's POV, this book, her section on it really expands on that. It kind of takes the way the first book ended and expands on that in her point of view, and so it's so tragic. Like, I will say, like, these books, I didn't rate the first book very, very well because I didn't, it was just okay. But I've actually fallen in love with these characters, and it's a tragedy, it's heartbreaking, and it's a very, very sad story. It's not your traditional romance story, so I will say, I do think that this book could be a standalone. I think you could read this book by itself. However, you're going to understand a lot more if you have read the first book. But the first book has Autumn's point of view, and then maybe a couple of Finn's point of view, and maybe a couple others, I don't know. But mostly her point of view on things. This book kind of expands on that a little bit. I don't think we've heard from Jack before, who is Finn's best friend, so hearing from him and his thoughts on Finn and Autumn together and everything that happens between them and his perspective, it's quite interesting. But I will caution you, like, this should have a trigger warning on it. There is death in this book and in the first book, so you just need to be aware of that. The loss of a loved one can be very, very hard. If that could be triggering to you, obviously, I do recommend these books, but obviously wait until maybe it's not so triggering for you, that it's not going to cause you to spiral, because I don't want you to spiral. I want you to, to be okay and to enjoy what you're reading. I don't want it to cause more problems. So, and I think the author would say that too. That being said, the growth of characters in this book is tremendous. Both Jack and Autumn, obviously I read the first book, so I know a little bit about Autumn, and you hear a little bit about Jack, but I don't think we hear from, like, Jack's perspective. Even in this book, when you start reading Jack's perspective and how he thinks and how he operates compared to the end, because each section is like 15 chapters, 14 or 15 chapters, maybe a little bit more. In the first chapter, you're just like, oh my gosh, it's kind of exactly what you thought. And then by the end, he's completely changed. And his point of view is absolutely different, and he's grown up and matured quite a lot. And these are kids in high school. They're in like their senior year of high school. There's talk about them graduating and then going to college and stuff like that. So they are in a big time in their lives where a lot of changes are happening anyway. You know, when you're getting ready to go to college, you leave your friends, you leave your family, you know, you go live in a dorm. Some of you, some of us, I don't know. I didn't. I went to school locally, so I still lived at home while I went to college, or I've gone to school online. But a lot of kids do. They will go out of town, they go live in dorms, they, you know, you're away from, you know, sometimes you're away from everybody that you know. Sometimes you go to school with friends that you have. Like I think Jack and Finn had both applied at the same college. They were set to go to the same college and have a dorm room together, I think. So, you know, obviously some of you have that. Some people have that. Some of us don't. It's a very touching book. I think it is very well written. I think it gets the point across. I think it's adequately written to represent teenage years. Like, I don't think that in any capacity that these kids are adults, but I think the kids are written very much as adolescents. You know, it's a coming of age. Like, it's so hard when you're graduating high school and you just get done with school and you're expected to be an adult and do all of the adult things, and you know you're not really used to that, and you kind of gotta find your way in the world, you know. For so long school is your identity, and then once you're done with school you have to kind of find your own, and it can just be really hard, along with everything that they go through in this book. So I have to say that this book, this one I rated 5 out of 5 stars. Okay, so the readability I rated 5 stars, enjoyment 4 out of 5, characters 5 out of 5, setting 5 out of 5, the writing 4 out of 5, plot 4 out of 5. So by the end of this book, there are still some questions that I still have, and I know plenty of other readers probably do too. There are things that are left unresolved, you know, things that just aren't answered, aren't explained fully. So I would understand if there might be another book in the series, which I don't know if the author is doing that on purpose to kind of expand it out, or if that's just, you know, I think sometimes as an author, it's a very weird relationship you have with your characters, because sometimes your characters very much talk to you. Most of the time they will tell you, like for me at least, they'll tell you like, I said this, or I'll say, you know, you can feel what they're feeling, and you can kind of put yourself to where you're thinking as them and how they would think and operate, and that could be different from how you operate. And you know, sometimes they can be very elusive, sometimes it's hard to figure that out. So I don't know, but I know that she writes in here that they wanted Finn to be, you know, brought back to life in this book and find out more about him and his perspective, and it's very well written. There's a lack of resolution for me at the end. I mean, there's a resolution on some things, but then there's other things you find out like so close to the end, and there's like nothing expanded upon that. Like, you find out these things that are kind of huge things, and then the book just ends, and I'm just like, okay, but you know, what now? What comes next? So there is that. But I will say, I do recommend these books. You know, it's very hard to read. This book, I definitely had to take my time, because there is, you know, like I said, there is a death, and reading the first book, I took it really, I always take it really, really hard in books, okay? And you become invested with the characters, and so when somebody passes away and it affects them greatly, obviously it's going to affect you too, and it's so intense and hard to read. So, you know, I would definitely say, if you read the first book and, you know, this second book, definitely give yourself time to kind of read through those sections and get through those areas, because it is very intense and it is very heavy. So, you know, make sure to take care of yourself as well as reading a book. I mean, I know they're just fictional characters, but this is my, like, I'm an avid reader, okay? The characters, you just fall in love with them, and it breaks your heart when they get hurt, and it was very hard to read at times, you know, and I had to kind of pace myself, because as the event was coming up and I was reading about it, and I'm sitting here like, I can't, like, there was a time where I knew it was like in the next chapter, or the next couple of chapters, and I had to put the book down, because I'm like, I'm not ready to go through that tonight. because I usually read before bed, but like, you know, because at that time I was not ready to go through that. I wasn't in the space that I needed to be in. So do keep that in mind. But I do think they're pretty good. They're not the best books that I've ever read, but they're pretty good. They're pretty good. Let's see. It has 391 pages, 15 chapters. No, 15 chapters. I meant to go through and count per person. It's about 14, 15 per person, so it's about 45 chapters. But see, it goes, like the first part is, there is a content warning in here. This novel includes depictions of death, depression, suicide, and pregnancy. If you or someone you know is experiencing mental health distress or crisis, please reach out for help. And it gives the suicide and crisis lifeline. But like we have different sections, like it goes to Finn, and then we go to Jack after that. And then after Jack, you go to Autumn. So there are, you know, there's distinct sections. You do know who you're reading about. So I do recommend the books. Please let me know if you have read this book in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, listen, it's okay if you absolutely loved it and you rave about it. It's okay if you're like, this is trash, I can't read this. Or if you know, DNF'd it, you know, that's totally okay too. But just let me know if you have picked up this book, if you have read it, what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. Again, if you would like a more in-depth review, please go to my website, beautifullyfearless.com. I do link that in every single one of my videos. And it has a link for my blog on there. So you can click on that, and you know, all the book reviews that I do on here, I do a more extensive and intense review over there on my blog, with spoilers, so just be aware of that. But yeah, I will include everything that I used on my face today for my makeup in the description box below, and I will include some Amazon affiliate links, both for the book and if I can find it, because I can't remember if I found it on there or not, and what makeup I have on in case you wanted to purchase that. These are affiliate links, which means they do pay me a little bit if you use them to purchase anything, but it really helps me out and it doesn't cost you anything at all. So if you shop on Amazon, please use one of my affiliate links. But yeah, let me know what you think about this book. Please don't forget to go follow me over on the Instagram. Like this video if you like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring that bell icon to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Excuse me. Because you never know what kind of content is going to pop up over here on this channel. I thank y'all so much for watching. I love y'all very, very much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!